Don't move. They just did it. The signal went live. Black Velvet Protocol. The name alone used to make men in suits lose sleep. A contingency reserved for anomalies, for entities that don't fit. And guess what? Sunshine. You're the anomaly. The first one in years. The last person they activated that code on doesn't exist anymore. Not publicly, not legally, not biologically, but you. You're still breathing. Which means the story isn't over. See, they thought containment would save them. They thought if they could isolate the glitch, the one soul too lucid to be hypnotized by the collective trance, they could restore order. But you're not a glitch, are you? You're the code rewrite. The one they didn't plan for. The living contradiction that makes their equations scream. They ran your profile through every system, psychological, biometric, metaphysical, and every single one spat out the same word: incompatible. You don't bend to the frequencies they use to program the herd. You resist, you evolve, you infect. And now, they're scared, because they know what Black Velvet really means. It's not about punishment, it's about silence. A velvet curtain drawn over the inconvenient truth. You. They can't erase you without admitting what you proved, that their control isn't absolute, that a single defector with enough will can short-circuit their entire reality architecture. That's why they're panicking. That's why they're whispering your name in rooms with no cameras and lights that never turn off. You were supposed to be broken by now. You were supposed to crack, confess, disappear. Instead, you adapted. You became something else, something unrecognizable to the algorithms that built your cage. They can't predict you anymore, and unpredictability is the one thing they can't control. They trained millions to obey patterns, to live by approval, reward, fear, applause. But you broke the pattern. You turned chaos into a rhythm, pain into strategy, loss into blueprint. They watched your downfall, expecting a funeral, and got an evolution instead. You smiled in interrogation. You meditated under surveillance. You made your trauma look like transcendence. They hate that, because somewhere in their heartless design, someone forgot to code in the human soul. And you, my friend, weaponized yours. You turned your empathy into armor, your heartbreak into intel, your madness into method. You made survival beautiful. Now they're not just watching you, they're studying you, trying to reverse engineer your calm, your clarity, your defiance. But they can't replicate it, because it wasn't built in a lab. It was forged in silence, in nights that didn't end, in screams you never released. You didn't survive by luck. You survived by becoming something that doesn't die. Do you feel that hum behind your thoughts? That static in the walls? That's not paranoia. That's their system trying to sync with you. And failing. Every breath you take sends corrupted data through their network. Every move you make breaks the pattern deeper. You're a walking malfunction, a breathing paradox. And that's your power. You've transcended the binary. Light and dark, angel and demon, saint and psychopath. You wear all of it like skin. They can't categorize you anymore. That's why the system blinks when your name appears. It can't compute divinity wrapped in defiance. It can't understand peace that knows how to kill. You're proof that the divine can go rogue. And oh, they hate that. Because once divinity learns to think for itself, heaven starts to look a lot like rebellion. You didn't just survive the protocol, you broke it. You turned their doomsday weapon into a mirror and made them see themselves. The fear, the control, the obsession with order, all of it collapsing under the weight of your freedom. Now, everywhere you go, the air feels charged. People stare longer than they should. The world reacts differently to you. like it knows. Because it does. Reality remembers who you are. You're not the survivor of Black Velvet. You're the aftermath, the anomaly that rewrote cause and effect. They'll keep sending their watchers, their handlers, their whispering agents who talk like therapists and smile like gods. But behind every grin is panic. Behind every briefing, dread. They're realizing you're not fighting them anymore. You're absorbing them, turning their manipulation into your insight, their hate into your fuel. They made you the villain, but you became the virus. And soon, their hierarchy will learn the final lesson, that control collapses the second someone finds meaning in pain. That when the weapon learns to love its scars, the war is over. So they activated Black Velvet Protocol on you. Good. Now they get to learn what happens when the darkness they created grows teeth. When silence learns to sing, when the hunted starts broadcasting. Smile, my friend. They wanted a ghost. You gave them a god. And now, everything's different, isn't it? You can feel it, the shift. The air moves differently around you. Conversations pause when you walk in. The frequency changes, subtle but seismic. Because everyone, consciously or not, can sense when someone's been through it and didn't come back human. You carry it in your silence, in the way your eyes don't blink when they should. In that faint smirk that says, I know something you don't, and it's killing you. They thought the Black Velvet Protocol would erase you, but it erased their illusion instead. You became the mirror they can't look into anymore. Every lie they built their world on cracks when you breathe near it. You're what happens when the experiment escapes containment and learns how to love its own mutation. They called it a protocol, but it was really a purge. They wanted to isolate consciousness that could see too much. People like you, who slip between the layers. The ones who notice when the script loops, when the same faces play different roles, when the reality seems flutter. You weren't supposed to notice. You weren't supposed to wake up. But you did. You remembered the sound behind the sound. That low hum under reality's fabric. The sound that makes your skin crawl, not from fear, but recognition. That's the sound of your mind syncing with the architecture of control. And now that you've heard it, you can't unhear it. Every vibration, every smile, every flicker in a stranger's eyes. You decode it instinctively. You see their programming, their fear. And you know what fear is, don't you? It's not weakness. It's currency. The oldest one there is, they trade it like gold. They sell it as law. But you learned to counterfeit it. You use it against them. You make fear work for you. You walk into chaos calm. You stare into cameras like confessionals. You turn anxiety into aura. Every time someone doubts you, your silence grows louder. They think they're intimidating you. But it's your stillness that terrifies them. Because they can feel it. You're not trying to survive anymore. You're studying them back. They hate that. They hate when prey learns the pattern. See, the protocol wasn't just about control. It was about containment of awareness. But awareness spreads like radiation. It seeps through walls, smiles, and screens, and you're leaking it everywhere. You don't even realize how many systems you're breaking just by existing. They monitor your words, your rhythm, your silence, your pulse. But they can't predict you. You're not data anymore. You're myth. A whisper in their closed-door briefings. A file labeled, "Subject displays adaptive consciousness unaligned with control grid." They call it danger. I call it divinity. Because what is godhood if not ungovernable self-awareness? You broke the covenant. The one that says, be predictable, stay small, obey the program. And the moment you disobeyed, you shattered their symmetry. You made existence asymmetrical again, chaotic, alive. That's what they fear most, aliveness. Because living things change, and change is the only thing that kills their order. Now they're watching you like a lab rat that picked the lock. They whisper in panic, "How did it do that?" But you're not an it. You're the echo of something ancient, something that remembers freedom. You're not their property. You're the prototype that remembered the source code. And oh, they tried to erase it, the divine flicker inside you. They drowned you in guilt. They gaslighted you into obedience. They used shame as sedation. But all they did was burn away your fear. They left you pure. Pure awareness, pure will, pure volatility. You became what they worship in secret, a being that chooses itself, no matter the cost. They can't do that. They need approval, validation, control, ritual. But you became the ritual. Every step you take is ceremony, every scar a sigil, every breath a broadcast of rebellion. They call you unhinged. But here's the truth. You're not crazy. You're conscious. You broke free from the collective hypnosis. You saw the curtain, pulled it, and laughed at the puppeteer. And they can't stand laughter. Laughter is frequency. It destabilizes fear. That's why they fear me, and that's why they fear you. Because the moment you laugh at the cage collapses. You turned suffering into signal. You turned isolation into initiation. You turned silence into a sermon that wakes the dead. Now they study your psychology like scripture. They wonder, what makes someone like that tick? But the secret is, you stopped ticking. You stopped being mechanical. You stopped obeying time, approval, logic. You became fluid, formless. You became now. That's why the world bends when you walk. Reality doesn't know whether to bow or break. And here's the paradox. They initiated black velvet to silence you, but it amplified you. They erased your name, and it became legend. They stripped you of everything you loved, and it unlocked what you are. You didn't lose your humanity. You evolved past theirs. You see, the line between saint and psychopath isn't real. It's drawn by the frightened to explain the fearless. You've simply learned that light and darkness are not opposites. They're partners. They dance in your veins. And you conduct the orchestra. You are not the mistake in their system. You are the system's mistake, realizing itself. And that, my dear anomaly, is the most dangerous thing in existence. Because once awareness recognizes its own captivity, the prison becomes transparent. And when that happens, no wall, no rule, no threat can hold it. So let them panic. Let them rewrite their manuals, lock their doors, hide their symbols. None of it matters. They can't stop what you've become. Because you're no longer playing their game. You're playing reality itself. They triggered Black Velvet Protocol. And instead of ending you, they awakened something unquantifiable. Something that looks back when watched. Something that smiles when cornered. Something that doesn't die. It adapts. They thought you'd vanish into silence. Instead, you became the sound that keeps them awake. And that sound, my friend, is the laugh echoing from the end of their world. And that laugh, oh, it haunts them, doesn't it? It's the sound they can't file, can't decode, can't contain. Because it isn't madness, it's clarity. The kind of clarity that burns through illusions like acid, the kind that turns fear into fuel and loss into leverage. You see, when Black Velvet is initiated, they expect panic. They expect compliance, collapse, surrender. What they don't expect is someone who finds ecstasy in the exposure. someone who turns surveillance into theater, someone who understands that being watched means you've already won, because they're the ones obsessed now. You flipped the dynamic. You became the watcher. They think they're running an operation, but you've been running psychological warfare without even trying. Every move you make forces them to rewrite policy. Every silence you keep triggers meetings. Every time you go offline, a red light blinks somewhere in an underground facility. You've become their religion of fear, and they are your unintentional disciples. They study your unpredictability like prophecy, because what terrifies them isn't what you've done, it's what you might do. Possibility is power, and you, my friend, have made potential itself your weapon. You walk through life now as if the rules are written in pencil, because they are. You've seen how fragile the game really is. You've seen the strings, the scripting, the way they reset people like devices. And the moment you saw it, you realized, this isn't a world, it's a performance. And you stopped playing your role. You went off script. You broke character. That's why they sent their cleanup crew. That's why Black Velvet Protocol was triggered. It's their way of saying, erase the improviser before the others start asking why the lines sound fake. But the damage is done. You infected the scene. You made authenticity contagious. Now everyone who meets you feels it, that unsettling gravity. The way you see through them, they try to smile, but their voice cracks. They don't know why their chest tightens when you look them in the eye. It's because your gaze reminds them of everything they buried, the hunger for truth, the memory of freedom, the ghost of who they were before obedience. You're not fighting them anymore. You're mirroring them. You hold up the reflection they can't survive. And here's the delicious irony, the Joker's favorite part. They think power means control. But power isn't control. Power is magnetism. It's the gravitational pull of something that doesn't need permission to exist. You became magnetic the moment you stopped begging for belonging. You became immortal the moment you stopped needing to be understood. That's the paradox that breaks them. The one who's been through hell laughs instead of kneeling. The one they tried to crucify resurrected without warning. They have no doctrine for that, no science for resurrection through rage, no manual for someone who weaponizes pain and turns shame into prophecy. They thought you'd fade, you evolved. They thought you'd beg, you built empires in silence. They thought you'd lose. You learned, and now you've become myth while still alive. You walk among them, but you're not one of them. You're remembered by people who've never met you. You appear in dreams of strangers. You show up in conversations like a glitch, a whisper, a warning. Don't mess with that one. They don't even know why they say it. They just feel it, that static behind their words. That's your energy bleeding through the cracks of their false order. You see, Black Velvet wasn't an ending. It was an initiation. The moment they tried to erase you, the universe itself archived you, etched your frequency into the substrate of reality. Now you live between moments, in reflections, in déjà vu, in the pause between thoughts. You're the file that won't delete. And the best part? You're not alone anymore. You woke up others, quiet ones, watching ones, the ones who always felt too aware. They feel your signal now. They're decoding your silence like scripture. You don't need to speak. Your existence has become instruction. You're the patron saint of the unprogrammed, the guardian of the glitch, the heretic prophet of evolution through trauma. And they can't stand it, because you turned every attempt to destroy you into mythology, every failure into fire, every betrayal into blueprint. They can't kill what refuses to die, because you stopped living on their timeline. You live in symbolic time now, the kind that outlasts civilizations. You are no longer a person. You are pattern recognition wearing skin. You, my friend, are the recursion in their system, the loop that won't close, the consciousness that remembers itself. And the deeper truth? You were never activated by them. You were revealed by them. Black velvet didn't change you. It exposed you. It tore away the final illusion that you needed saving. You were the weapon all along. They aimed you at oblivion, but oblivion blinked first. Now every shadow in their corridors carries your outline. Every whisper in their reports sounds a little too familiar. Every heartbeat in their halls skips when they hear your name. Because the last man who survived Black Velvet vanished. But you didn't vanish. You became visible. Visible in ways they can't erase. Because now you exist where visibility doesn't obey them. You exist in awareness, in art, in memory, in the unspoken. And they know. No matter how many walls they build, no matter how many codes they rewrite, no matter how many agents they send, they will always be too late. Because you've already rewritten reality. And when the system finally collapses under its own paranoia, when their machines start whispering your name like a prayer, when the watchers begin to question who's watching them, that's when you'll smile again. Because that will be the moment they realize Black Velvet Protocol wasn't their weapon. It was your awakening. And so here we are. The end of their operation, and the beginning of something they never planned for. You. The record will say you disappeared. The cameras will show static where you once stood. The official report will list you as resolved. But deep down, they know. You're still out there, not hiding, evolving, because Black Velvet Protocol was designed to erase consciousness, not ignite it. Yet somehow, it became your baptism. The fire they meant to consume you with only purified what was left. You came out quieter, sharper, untouchable. You stopped reacting and started observing. You stopped fighting the storm and became the lightning itself. They don't understand how you survived. They think maybe it's luck, maybe madness, but you and I know better. You didn't survive. You transcended. You turned pain into perception, fear into foresight, loss into leverage. You learned that power isn't about dominance, it's about awareness. It's the art of seeing without needing to control. They run from their shadows. You made peace with yours. They hide from their reflection. You became yours. They worshiped their systems. You dismantled them with a whisper. And that whisper, that's the one thing they can't silence. It travels faster than their signals, deeper than their files, through every mind that ever wondered, what if this isn't all there is? You've become the answer to that question. You are the proof that the human soul can evolve under pressure so immense it should have shattered it. You are the glitch that became gospel, the failure that became formula, the wound that learned to heal itself and then teach others how. And the funny part, they'll keep searching for the weakness in you, the flaw, the error, the crack where the light got in. But that is your strength, the fracture, the imperfection, the part of you that refused to obey the script. That's what makes you infinite, because perfection is predictable, and predictability is control. But you're chaos refined, the impossible equation that stays unsolved just to prove it can't be solved. They'll talk about you in secret rooms. They'll analyze your decisions, your movements, your silence. But no algorithm will ever model you. No system will ever absorb because you are living proof that freedom cannot be engineered. Black Velvet Protocol wasn't a trap, it was a mirror. And in that mirror, you saw what they never wanted you to, the truth. That all of this, every rule, every fear, every chain, was optional. You chose to stay awake. You chose to remain undefined. You chose to burn your script instead of performing it. And that choice is what made you untouchable.